Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about writing a body paragraph. So far you have kind of learned how to write a topic sentence. We've talked about finding examples and putting them into your outline. So today it's all about how to take all those different pieces and put them together into a full paragraph. So you want to think about a body paragraph as its own unit, right? Your body paragraph has one idea, right? One idea that's described through different examples, right? And proven through different examples. So one idea per paragraph. That's really, really important to remember. So we talked about topic sentences earlier, right? And again, it's one main idea per paragraph, and that's what's discussed in the topic sentence, right? I should be able to read that topic sentence and say, okay, this is what the paragraph is about. So one way you can do this if you're kind of struggling is you can start off by just saying or thinking or writing down, this paragraph is about blank, right? This is the topic, and this is what I'm saying about the topic, right? You should have both those parts, and then you can kind of turn those into a cohesive sentence later. So in the body paragraph, you're going to have at least two pieces of evidence that prove it, and we'll talk about what make up those pieces of evidence later. But going back to that topic sentence, you want to focus on a narrow aspect of your thesis that you can prove with examples, right? You need to know that. And making sure that the topic sentence states what that paragraph will be about. And it should be the first sentence of your paragraph, right? The first sentence should state exactly what that paragraph is going to discuss. So if you like formulas, you know from the grammar we've looked at that I love formulas. I know it helps me when I'm learning things to kind of boil it down to like one really quick visual. So for a topic sentence, we want like a narrow topic and a controlling idea, right? And the controlling idea is your opinion or your claim, right? So whatever you think about that narrow topic that you've discussed. So we have our topic sentence, we've started with that, and now it's time to get to our support. So you already have examples or quotes that you've pulled from either a text or your own experience, and you have these because you brainstormed them in the brainstorm and you put them into the outline, right? So this is why pre-writing is so important. By the time you sit down to write these body paragraphs, you have that topic sentence and you have these pieces of support. So you want at least two pieces of support. 3 is great too. You don't want less than 2 pieces, because if I'm trying to make a point, if I only have one example, that's kind of, it could just be an anomaly, right? But 2 really gets my point across. So for our first essay, your examples will be examples from your own life, and also one quote per paragraph from the readings we've done. For our other essays, we're going to work toward only using quotes to support what we're saying. So for pieces of support, if you're going to be using your own examples, you want to kind of have details, I guess, for your pieces of support that kind of explain in greater depth what you mean by that piece of support. If you have examples, you want to spend a couple sentences explaining that example or how that quote backs up what you're saying in the topic sentence, right? So the bulk of your essay is going to be kind of an explanation of support. So you're going to maybe have your quote, right? And then you'll have 2 to 3 sentences explaining how that quote supports your topic sentence. Now, you know from our discussions that when we read a text, we read it through our own sort of life experience lens, right? And what that means is that I might read a quote by Amy Tan, and it might mean something different than it means to you. So analysis of a quote or explaining our quote just kind of shows the way you see that quotation, right? We always want to show our reader what we mean by really explaining, and we practice that when we use quotes in our reading responses, and then we'll be doing that for our essay as well. So your quote should also not be longer than your analysis. I'd like you guys to keep your quotes between 1 and 2 lines long. So this means that sometimes you might need to take out a chunk of the quote, and I'll show you how to do that with citing stuff in the MLA format PowerPoint. But make sure you keep those quotes kind of short, right? Only use what you need to be using. So if you have a really hard time thinking about those 2 to 3 sentences after your example or after your quotation, you can brainstorm what to write using these questions, right? So 1, how does this support the claim in my topic sentence? So just kind of jot down notes for all of these, again, if you're struggling. How does this support the claim in my thesis, right? Remember, each topic sentence supports that thesis statement, right? And overall, our essay is just kind of supporting that thesis. What larger conversation does this idea speak to? And who's the audience, and does it speak to them, right? So again, thinking about our audience as well. Finally, you end your paragraph with a transition or summary sentence, right? So we want to indicate to our reader that this idea is coming to a close, right? There's one idea per paragraph. It starts with a clear topic sentence. We prove it through details and examples, and then we close it all with a transition summary sentence. It's like, hey, this is what I just talked about. This is what I'm going to talk about next, right? I want to remind you that every paragraph should be at least 8 sentences. A body paragraph should fit at least those 8 sentences. If you're doing it correctly, it should be a little bit longer than that. Okay, so I'll be giving you feedback on your rough drafts. We'll be looking at body paragraph format. But again, you don't want to forget that it needs to start with a topic sentence. You need at least 2 quotes or examples to support what you're saying, and then it ends with that summary or transition sentence to kind of indicate to the reader that it's all coming to a close. I can't wait to read what you write and give you some feedback.